Here's a couple of quick tips to help with working with really large scale scenes. So the first thing, always keep a puppet around. This is going to be big for making sure that no matter what scale you're working at, you're always grounded as to what the true scale is going to be. So wherever you're working, just keep this with you. So if I want to work up there, it really gives me a sense of scale that way. So as I scale up, or scale down, I always know what the scale is at visually. Now another thing here, this is meant to be seen from far away, and obviously these steps are way too big for this guy, and that's actually on purpose. You're not going to see this up close, so if I made these any smaller, you're going to lose that detail, and you want some of that detail to be visual from far away. So sometimes it's okay to play with the scale a bit, to kind of cheat the scale a bit to get the desired effect. This comes in handy as well because when you're working really zoomed out, it can take forever to get anywhere around the scene where you're not able to just click on something. So always keep these handy so you can zoom to wherever you want to work. And that also saves the scale. So here, I'm not at 1:1 scale, but if I want to go back to 1:1 scale, I just go to that and I'm back here. So you could even keep one at either in the same place, and then you can be working at this scale and then quickly go back to this scale. Makes things a lot easier. Now sometimes you might be at this scale and you want to go somewhere where there's not a bookmark. One little tip I found is to quickly throw something down, throw it way out there, and then zoom to it, delete it. It's definitely a lot quicker than trying to fly around by pushing that button, whatever button that's called. What is it? The move button, I guess that's what it's called. Anyway, another thing, if you have a specific point that you want, a vantage point that you want, that you're working on, in other words, a scene that's not really meant to be seen from anywhere. In this case, this is really just meant to be seen from this angle. It's a good idea to bring things that are really big and really far away towards you. So like this moon over here. What I would do is clone it, bring it to me, scale it way down, now I can work on it from this scale. And whatever I do on this one, where it's easy to look around it and see what I'm doing, but I can also look up and see what it's going to look like in the final version as I'm working. That comes in really handy. So what I like to do is actually all the major parts is I will keep clones of those next to me. So we have that. We have this guy. Now I can work on all these and I can see what they're going to look like at full scale. So that comes in handy as well. What else? Oh, someone was also asking about the lighting, how I did the lighting on these. They're just lights. So I used spotlights to shine on there. And then I also put lights behind shining through. Now one thing I think really helps, look at some of these lights, is using these image textures. to give it some interesting variety. It can, like this can kind of look plain. It can just look a little plain. You know, that's kind of overly bright and just kind of boring. But if you give it some texture, it just makes it look like it's kind of shining through the clouds that way. And then it also really helps with these God rays. It kind of gives those some textures as well. So you can kind of see the different rays. Without that, it's just one big beam. So that really helps improve the effect. And so I just kind of sprinkled some behind there, shining through here and there. And that's really all there is to that. As far as the sun, that's just a ball. In fact, actually, it's just that moon. Laying down a partial sphere like this as a starting point, that's actually where I started, that comes in handy as well to give you a sense of the area that you're able to work in. I can't really go much farther than these, where these are. I can't go much farther than that. They'll actually disappear. I'll get that warning. So I'm using almost the full scale of the scene. Yeah. That's pretty much it. Oh, as far as the ground and keeping your thermo low, which I have some of these. This one's pretty big. This is probably most of it, or a good chunk of it, because I made this building one big sculpt. But stuff like the ground, stuff that's going to cover a lot of area, it's not a bad idea to make one or maybe a couple of really high detailed sculpts and use that everywhere. If you put enough variety or variation in the one sculpt, then you're going to be able to use it a lot. You can use it in different colors. You can use it at different scales. You can use it at different quality levels. Like from there to there, it looks like a completely different object. And then put some variety on the edge. That makes it useful there as well. And this one sculpt is used for everything, for the entire ground. And then for these, I have two. There's two of these. And this one's pretty low detail. I actually think I need to improve this a bit. I wasn't originally planning on having these so close, so I didn't make them very detailed. And that's the thing too, stuff that you plan on being very far away, you don't have to go overboard with the detail. You don't have to spend hours on the detail because you're not going to see it that far away anyway. That only changes if things are going to be up close. Like the ground I'm using close as well as far, so I want this to be pretty high detail. But stuff far away, it doesn't really matter. You just want to suggest detail. Kind of the same principle with this, with the stairs there. You know, the detail is, there's not a lot of detail to it, and the steps don't even really match scale, but it's enough to suggest stairs from a distance. Yeah, that's pretty much it.